self-awareness is huge. And that's one of the, I would say, my weaknesses is self-awareness. And I definitely had to build it over time, because I think for me, like, I really don't care, what other people think. So like, because I don't care, I think that kind of ties into like myself, and so it's important to understand, where my strengths are, where my weaknesses are, and play that out. So how do people like build self-awareness? Like when you are teaching women, like, hey, you got to be self-aware. What's kind of like a way that people can achieve that?
That's also a really great question. And first of all, I commend you for being honest about that, about yourself, that you don't have the greatest self-awareness. And I think that in itself is self-awareness, right? If you are aware that you aren't completely self-aware, that is a level of self-awareness.
Oh yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. And it is in those little steps that you recognize, okay, like you recognize something about yourself that is a weakness, and now you're aware of it. So when we're trying to teach people how to be more self-aware, it's all about metacognitive thinking. And what metacognition is thinking about thinking. So you have to be a little bit more in tune with your thoughts. And so a lot of people aren't very in tune with their thoughts. And so that tends to be the first step of like, okay, you might be working. If you're working, how can you be a little bit more in tune with what you're thinking about while you're working? Because if you don't know what your thoughts are, you are not self-aware. So if you can start to recognize your thoughts, of pick out, oh, I'm thinking about typing this letter, or, something simple, it could be something very simple about like, oh, I'm typing this, but yet I'm thinking about what I want to make for dinner. You're starting to recognize, okay, I'm actually thinking about something else than what I'm doing here. So once you start to realize what your thoughts are, then you can start to pick out what are the positive things that you're thinking and what are the negative ones. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to figure out that you have an overwhelming amount of negative thoughts compared to positive ones, because that's how our brains are. There's been studies done on it that most of human thought is negative as opposed to positive. And so that's normal. So if you start to realize that I'm saying some really mean things to myself right now, or I'm thinking some very bad things are going to happen, then, it's normal and you don't have to freak out about it. But it's like, now you have that awareness, right? You're aware of, not only is this thought negative, but what is this thought about? Is it about myself? And tying back to self-worth is like, if you realize a lot of your thoughts are, negatively talking to yourself, then you're aware of it now. So it really just starts with being in tune with our thoughts, and it could be very small. And I think one way of learning how to do that is through meditation. A lot of people find meditation very difficult, though. So I think you can learn how to be aware of your thoughts even outside of meditation. But I do recommend it if you're able to. If you are having trouble with meditation for any reason, I really like to think about my thoughts while I'm driving, or when I'm doing something kind of mindless, like cooking or washing dishes, because you're busy in a way and you're doing something, your body is occupied, but it allows you to kind of go inward and really like tune into what's going on up here. And that's really what meditation is. The only difference is meditation, you're typically just sitting down and doing nothing, and people have issues with that. So if you can do something a little bit mindless with your body and start to go inward and start to think a little bit more about what you're thinking, that can start to spur some self-awareness for you.
Yeah, I think that's so huge. Like I read a book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. That was in college. And one of the things he says is being aware of your thoughts, being an observer and just sitting back. And it's like almost like if you're sitting on a bench and you're just observing your thoughts go by, and you can start to see the negative ones, and some people aren't even aware that they have negative feelings. And then whenever something happens, like, they have this built-in emotion that comes out, they're reacting. But if you like start to be more aware of your thoughts, you can start to just focus on the positive ones and not be so almost in control of your emotions and your thoughts. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you watch the full episode here. And if you're not subscribed yet, make sure you click on the subscribe button. I really appreciate you watching. I'll see you in the next video.